Welcome to Unapologetically Rich, the show for high-achieving women who refuse to settle. I've helped over 51 women become millionaires and multimillionaires. You're next. I'm here to unlock the next level of wealth, freedom, fulfillment, and feminine power. So hit the follow button, share this with every woman who needs to hear it, and get ready, because every week we're diving deep and rising higher. This is the Unapologetically Rich Show. Are you ready? Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Unapologetically Rich. I'm your host, Shamina Taylor. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the power of our subconscious mind and how our subconscious mind could actually be keeping us from everything that we want, but it's also the thing that helps us create everything that we want. And if you're new to listening to me or you just found me recently, I want you to understand that one of the things that I'm really powerful at is getting to the root issue and also mirroring back to people what they can't see and helping them reprogram their subconscious mind and help them regulate their nervous system then next and literally activate their emotions so that they can create the reality that they choose to live in, that they desire. And the more that I get these teachings that drop in and the clarity that comes to me, I have a deeper understanding. And I am a woman who knows how to read patterns. And as a mentor, one of the things that when you hire somebody, you're looking for them to find your blind spots, but also to find the places for you to activate growth or to see places that you might not know that you can uncover that might be creating resistance or, a roadblock that you have right there and you didn't even know it was happening. So I encourage you to do your own research. I'm going to give you my reflections and wisdom around the subconscious. Now, many people don't really know what is actually in their way. They think they do, but the thing that really is not apparent to them. What does that mean? Okay, hang on. But before I go any further, I want to let you guys know October 2nd and 3rd, we have the Wealth Consciousness event here in Chicago. And if you have not bought your ticket yet, you should literally pause this, go buy your ticket, bring your business bestie, get in the room. This is going to be like the time where you were like, oh my gosh, people are going to be like, what happened to you? How are you making so much money? How did you change your life? And you'd be like, oh, it's because I attended this event in Chicago and I literally quantum leaped my results. Within 2 days, I did things that I have not been able to do in 5 years, You're going to have a massive transformation at this 2-day event, things that you didn't even think that you possibly needed to have, or that there's a next level waiting for you. The transformation that I'm talking about is going to be an internal one. Your identity work. We're definitely going to work on that. Your wealth consciousness, your belief systems around money. But also, I'm going to take that and apply it to your business and how you can create more wealth. And we're going to do actionable workshop things in the room, creating offers and really diving deep on what it looks like to create $500,000 to add to your business in the next 6 months. Now, this is a strategy that you guys can implement. Listen, strategy without the energetics and the identity work is usually why most people are not doing the results that they want to do. Strategy alone does not get you to the finish line or to where you want to go. What I teach is so imperative. And the reason why I do teach strategy too, because now that I've helped you with your identity work, I know how to help you along now, take that and implement it so that you can start creating the results that you want. When women leave this event, they're like, I didn't even know that was in my way. And look at it. It's out of my way now. Like, oh, look at this. I just had a client pay. Look at this. I'm having my highest cash months. Like one woman, she's like, I cannot believe that in these 2 days, I've done more work than I have in 2 years of doing other things, which is not to say the other things aren't amazing. But when you're in a room, your consciousness shifts so quickly. It's like when we all meditate together. I don't know if you've been to meditation or group meditation, but the consciousness in the room shifts you. So when you energetically get in a room with other people doing the same work, this is why you quantum leap. And for people who just want regular results by just doing strategies that come, I'll have this tomorrow, this next week, this next month. If you're looking to quantum leap, because that's really what it takes to make $1 million, in a very short period of time, in a year, in 6 months, in a month. Quantum leaping requires you to do something that you've never done before, and it does require an identity shift, and that's what we're going to be doing in the room. So we want you there. So October 2nd and 3rd, go grab a ticket, be in the room, and you will also have an opportunity to come and meet me at dinner and have a VIP with me, which I'll be doing hot seat coaching. I only need like sometimes 5 minutes to identify where your block is or what's you can't see. And this is why this episode is going to be amazing, because you get a chance to sit in front of me and I see things that other people don't see about themselves. And that's usually true for many people. But because I can read patterns and because I've been doing this work so long, I'm like, oh, I just asked you a couple questions. I'm like, here's your root issue. And now that we know what it is, because awareness is like 98% of the problem, problem solving. Because when you know you got a problem, I have the problem, I can fix it. Or I know what the issue is, I can fix it. Imagine if you don't know what the issue is and you can't fix the situation. That's why people keep repeating patterns over and over again and trying to get a different result doing something else, but they don't know what they're fixing. And they call that insanity, right? And because they're getting the same result. You get a chance to sit in the room with me for dinner, and it's $1,888. And I believe we only have 2 tickets left. And there's we have seats in that room, and we've got 2 left. It's going to be an amazing dinner. Women who have attended that VIP dinner have had profound changes in their lives. And I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore, so get in the room. Okay, so back to subconscious. And what I was talking about is subconscious mind is that your subconscious is programmed by your emotions, and your emotions dictate how your subconscious is programmed. Now, maybe you've heard of subliminal messaging or listening to something over and over again, and that's going to start programming your subconscious. Yes and no. If there is something in your subconscious that's going to block you from receiving that new transmission or new idea or belief, it will reject it because there'll be something that's a lot stronger resisting you to believe that end result. I'll give you an example. Somebody who says that, they want to go win a triathlon, but a couple of years ago they went and did a half marathon and they didn't actually get to the finish line. Something happened and they fell down, and that ended up being a loss for them. They didn't. It was a failure. They didn't get to go to the finish line. So in the back of their mind, they were very embarrassed. It was really bad. They were hurt. They twisted their ankle. They couldn't finish it. It was like a really traumatic event. Although they've been training every single day for this new race, in the back of their mind, that they might not even be thinking about that other half marathon because they missed it. They're like, oh, look at me now. Look what I'm doing now. But subconsciously, your subconscious is always going to try and protect you. So if you have not worked through an emotion that is in the past or inside your psyche, in your belief system, it's going to show up in your everyday. So naturally that person went on to do another race and didn't finish. Didn't they wanted to, and it was ended up being another failure, and they're like, what went wrong? This is why strategy alone and training for something alone is not going to always equal success, because you are the blueprint for your life and business. You are the energetic blueprint. You are the vibrational blueprint. Your belief systems, what you are thinking, feeling in your conscious and subconscious mind is always going to dictate the outcome that's happening in your life. Your belief systems about money, whether you know what they are or not, are going to dictate how you connect money on the other end, what your wealth consciousness is. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people who have grown up in an environment where money was so scarce and the scarcity was so high that no matter what they did to create money, they still had money leaks. Things still came in and they went out again. Even though they might be buying the cars, the watches, it would be these unexpected bills coming up or unexpected expenses. The money will still find a way to drain itself out, and they'd have to go back and make more just to keep up and keep hustling, keep working, and they're not sure why it's happening. Because what if you're afraid to hold the money, which is what happens for a lot of women? They're afraid to have the cash in their hands. So if you've got a belief system subconsciously that if you make more money, people are going to, I millionaire gals, my millionaire club is one of my groups, and my wealthy CEO women, it's my business group for women that are wealthy CEOs. The same question: if I give you $1 million right now, what was the first not so positive belief that would come up? And for many of them, it was like, I'm afraid I'm going to lose it, or I'm not going to be really good with it. I'm going to waste it. People are going to come in my family and put their hand out asking for money. I'm going to have to pay more taxes. I don't know if I can do this again. All of these belief systems were coming up, and right there, that's to you, right? It goes even deeper because those are the ones that they think they know, as opposed to the ones that are really happening out in the background. And so then you're like, well, that makes a lot of sense. That's why I don't have what I want, because I actually truly feel, more so than believe, this will happen. So your subconscious works like this. It remembers incidents, and it's there to protect you from having future pain or any type of harm. You touch the stove once, you burn your hand, you remember next time, never do that again. Stove hot, don't do that again. And you naturally know not to touch the stove anymore, right? Because you've done this before. You're curling your hair. You're not going to touch the barrel because maybe once or twice you picked it up or maybe just once and you picked it up and you're like, ouch, that's hot. And I'm not going to do that again. And so subconsciously now you're programming that belief, like, do not touch that part of the iron because it is hot. And this is how your subconscious works. It's there to put you in a protective state. It is protecting you from all harm. And now, listen to me. Imagine if you have a dysregulated nervous system. What does that mean? You've had some trauma before, and trauma can mean anything, right? Trauma is such a all description, but something happened that you emotionally could not process in the past, or your ability to process that emotion was very overwhelming for your nervous system. So you stayed in a freeze state. The emotions weren't processed all the way through. So it just kind of stayed in your nervous system because it was so traumatic. And what happens is your body is then going to remember your nervous system. We don't ever want to experience that again. So we are going to put ourselves in a freeze state. This is where the subconscious comes in, right? Oh, well, I'm going to protect you. Your fight or flight and your neural pathways are going to do the same thing. And this is why so many women are in fight or flight, because they're trying to stop themselves from actually experiencing XYZ happening again. And so when I talk about women being in their masculine, this is not to say like, wow, you're such a masculine woman. Most women who are in that masculine state, they're doing it. If you listen to my previous podcast a couple last week, we are only looking for safety in our own masculine energy that we've created because we are trying to protect ourselves and feel safe. We're not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to find safety in the feminine. And for many of us, we've used our masculine energy to create that safety. And so this is why most women are emotionally shut down, because they're too busy protecting themselves in that masculine. And their subconscious is backing that right up, because the subconscious, whatever like emotion was put into the subconscious, so it was probably anger, sadness, or a place where it's not free to process the emotions. It's like, here, protect me, protect me. You go through a really big heartache. You have a really bad divorce, a really bad breakup, you've been betrayed. Your guard is going to be all the way up, and your subconscious is going to be right there protecting you from any future harm. So it might have you connecting with emotionally unavailable people, because that's safe, because you know how that plays out. You know the results of that. Keeping your heart open over and over again to see what that result could look like is scary, because you never want to experience that pain before. So people subconsciously do that. I've done this. And the way that you can see, so Shamina, how do I know, right? So the way that you can see how your subconscious is working is to look around in your life right now. And when you're doing your daily journaling, which you should be doing, and you are staying what your desires are. If you haven't taken my program, Accessing the Quantum through Emotional Self-Mastery, you should take it, because it talks about how to regulate your nervous system. In there, if you have not been able to connect to that emotional state, what happens is you are just using pure survival state. You're in that masculine survival state, like just trying to get by. That's where that hustle energy comes from. And this is why most women are in that do, producing, busy, on, can't take a break, always doing something energy, right? Because they have excluded their emotions. Your emotions are the key to creating everything and having everything in an easier way. A woman who is not tapped into her energetics has not tapped into her emotions. A woman who has not tapped into her emotions has not tapped into her feminine. A woman who has not tapped into her emotions is usually running just on the masculine do energy. That's why she's constantly on the go and on the brink of fatigue and exhaustion and all the above, where she just can't do it anymore. Listen, by the time you go to tap out, you've been in survival mode for years, right? Many women who, when they go to get a divorce, they've known for years that they wanted out of that marriage, but they're going to go and do the long, hard thing because that's how they're programmed. We are so programmed to stay in suffering because we're not going to quit. We're not going to give up. We aren't quitters. We're not give uppers. We don't throw in the towel. We will go until we cannot go anymore. And it is such a terrible thing that we have been programmed that way. But if your nervous system only knows that, that's what it will do. It only knows survival state. That's what it will do. So your subconscious will then be like a backup to protect you. Now imagine if your subconscious is a clean slate. It's just there waiting for you to program it and tell it what you want it to believe. because that's what it is. It is absolutely by us. We get to tell it what we want. So for many people who have overcome many difficulties and mindset things, is they've been programmed their subconscious to believe something else. They do it subliminally at night. They go and they have the rewiring of their thoughts. They do a lot of journaling. They do meditation. I'm talking about all the things that I did to change my beliefs, because if you don't change your beliefs, then it's going to be really hard for you to program your subconscious to have a belief and then have an emotion to back up the belief, because it starts with that, right? So when I started this work, I realized that as I started healing after, going through that yoga mat moment and realizing my whole life was falling apart, I spent 3.5 years trying to figure who I was out. I called it my monk mode. And did all the healing modalities you possibly could think of. I mean, that was like 2013. We're at 2020, we're at 2025 right now. So that was 12 years ago. And for 12 years, I have been working on this all the time to have myself believe that it was possible for me to have the life that I do now. I would journal, I would heal myself, I would move through the resistance. I did everything and anything. I mean, I was on a podcast today as a guest, and the gal was like, "Well, so what did you get into this? How did you get into this? How did you change the way you were thinking?" I'm like, well, lady, I did all the crazy things possible. I mean, I was burning money candles, I was chanting with mala beads. I look back on everything that I did to help create this reality that I have now, and I was going for broke. I was all in because I only had one option that this was going to work. So I was willing to do whatever it took to call in the wealth into my life and to have me have a different relationship with money and be in a place where I completely trust it and know it'll never leave me. But it also required me to have a huge identity shift. You don't have quantum leaps with one click in your identity. You have quantum leaps because you've done a massive identity shift. You've unbecome the person you are to become the person who needs to be, who you want to be, the wealthy version of you, the wealthy woman version of you who has everything that she wants. If I go back and show you my journals from 6 years ago, I wrote about this life that I live now. But it's just not the writing in your journal that's going to get you there, right? That's just part of it. That's a daily habit that you should be doing every day to program that belief in. But if that was true, everybody would have what they wrote in their journals, all the time. But in order to make that magic happen, is you've got to program subconscious, you've got to rewire your nervous system. You have to be in groups like I teach accountability all the time, because if you're left to your own thoughts by yourself, you're going to revert back to the old thinking and old ways, because that's your subconscious going back into let's protect, let's protect you. So the subconscious, you can program it to believe whatever you want. So if you want it to believe that you are going to have whatever desire it is that you want, you can do that. Now, the thing that you have to be cautious of is, what does it currently believe? What emotion is being emitted all the time into that belief to support it? And for many of us, we are so blind to how protective our subconscious is that we don't even know that we are blocking a blessing, or we are the ones that are creating the resistance to receiving the thing that we want, until you have someone that mirrors back to you or is able to challenge a belief. And let me tell you, I've had run really high level masterminds, and I've had really powerful women in my space, and many of them can't take that reflection because it's so hard for them to receive it, because it's like telling somebody, and everybody says they want to know what it is, oh, tell me, give it to me, because I want to be the best one of myself. But unless you have been able to work on yourself and get to a place where you're no longer in a victim mindset, you then can receive that type of feedback. But anybody who's in a victim mindset still, they're going to blame other people. And unfortunately, I've seen it happen time and time again. I've had women who, making $107,000 a month, $300,000 a month, still have a victim mindset. And you're like, how is that possible? They have a lack and scarcity mindset still. Because just because you can make money doesn't mean you change the state of who you're being. Money does not change your frequency and your belief system. You have to do that. Having money does not make you abundant. You have to be abundant. And abundance comes from not being in lack and scarcity, which is rooted in a victimness. And so when people are still people, I already know that's a dead ringer. That person still is the reason why they don't have what they want, because they're the issue. They're the problem. And Nobody wants to look at themselves like they're a victim or they have lack of scarcity because it sounds weak. But I'll tell you right now, a lot of women are still there and they have not crossed over into that abundance, territory yet because they still have not accepted that perhaps maybe the belief systems that had, the situations that they've gone through, the experiences that they have are creating this with inside of themselves. And they don't even realize that their subconscious is supporting it because of what they fed it with their emotions. And if ever you've been betrayed or taken advantage of, it happens. Like, I mean, if you've never heard my Starbucks story, um, that's a prime example. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I I changed and I quit coffee years ago, and it was 2011, I believe. Because I heard that it steals all the collagen in your skin, and I was like, hey, I'm not down with that. I got to start aging backwards here. And I'm 53 right now, and so I'm 53 and my skin looks great. So maybe there is some truth to it. I don't know. But I'm also doing a lot of things to biohack and stay young right now. And I do take my fair share of collagen. I digress. However, I would get really upset from this one incident. I'll explain to you. When I first started drinking Starbucks, so I stopped drinking coffee, and the barista at Starbucks had said, "Hey, I can make you a matcha tea." And I'm like, "What is that?" Anyway, she made it because I don't drink dairy, and it was 80 cents. I thought I was winning. I basically was, you know, getting this big steal of a deal from Starbucks. Well, Starbucks caught on, and a couple of years later, they decided to start charging more. So they started charging 245. I flipped my lid. I started getting so upset. I was like, how dare they do this to me? Nothing's changed on the menu. Nothing's changed with the drink. How can they start charging? It's not even on the menu. Nothing's changed about the drink. How dare you start charging me more? I was so upset. I went into full Karen mode. Full Karen mode. Your manager. I want to talk to everybody. I was literally losing my you know. And well, then they went to three something. Same reaction. It got worse and worse. Four something. I don't have a reasoning at the time why this is happening, but I was so mad with them. There's a Starbucks that's closest to my house right now, and I cannot go to it because of the disdain I've had for the people there. But I'll tell you, in 2020, I went to Starbucks, and I realized at the time that I had money. Why was I so upset? Why was I feeling this, this anger towards Starbucks for increasing their price? So 2020, when everybody was staying at home, we went out. Me and the kids went out, and I decided I'm going to order this drink as a wealthy woman that I am, because they had raised the pricing again. And as I'm going through the drive-through, I'm thinking, I'm going to be an Oprah and buy the people behind me. And we get to the window. I've got my tip money ready for the barista, and I decided I'm going to be this wealthy woman. I'm going to decide I'm not going to get triggered by the pricing of this Starbucks. I'm going to buy it as a wealthy woman am. I started doing the work, talking to myself, working through that trigger because it was flaring me up at the time. And I'm like, why? Let's move past this. Let's see what's present here. Why are we allowing this to affect us? We paid for the people behind me. I felt so amazing about doing it. Then we paid for the people behind that because my son says, well, what about the people behind them? And I think we did the other one behind that. So it was three cars behind us. Gave the barista $20. I felt so good. I shifted in real time. By the time I got out of the drive, before I hit the light, a $10,000 stripe hit my account. It was in that moment I realized, wow, how much money did I have locked up in this anger, in these belief systems, and in this betrayal that I was feeling? Because it was betrayal. I was feeling betrayed by Starbucks, a corporation. I made it so personal. I was feeling betrayed by them because they kept raising their pricing and they weren't treating me special. And they were betraying me by raising their pricing. Well, I had a very deep core wound of betrayal. And if you've worked with me or if you've listened to my podcast before, I talk about the three core wounds: betrayal, abandonment, and unworthiness. And in my exchange of money, my betrayal wound was coming out. Now, my subconscious was protecting me from being betrayed. So the people who were bad in my mind was Starbucks, but it wasn't Starbucks, right? It was probably my dad or other people who had betrayed me. It was not actually Starbucks, but in that state and place, that betrayal wound was triggered. And your subconscious is always going to try and protect you from feeling that feeling ever again. Why it's so important to identify and get to your core wounds. Why I teach about it. Why I connect it to money. Why I show people this is the thing where you're going to lock this, you're going to have everything. And I'm really good at seeking out patterns, and I'm really good at detecting them. And that's why my programs, when women go through my programs, they have massive success and they get the results. And this is why women have their highest cash months, weeks, days, years, whatever, coming to work with me, because they have these self-imposed limits through these core wounds, through that subconscious protecting them, creating that ceiling, that resistance. And once they get it mirrored back to them and they say, oh my gosh, I've been doing this thing, then boom, they break free from that limit. And if you haven't got my book yet, Unlocking the Quantum Woman, go read it. It's a good start. It's going to help you unlock that quantum woman inside of you who is living without limits, that's able to receive and do all the things that she wants. Now, here's something that I think that I'm going to leave you with this is that your subconscious can be programmed. It can be told anything you want. If you do not have the emotional mastery, which is what I teach, to tell your subconscious what you want it to believe, then you will always be butting up against an unknown demon. I don't know. Leaky gas. You're not going to see it. It's going to come. It's going to be one of those things that you can't control because it's going to be sitting there. And you're going to be wondering, why don't I have the thing that I have? When you can acknowledge that it's you that's doing it, like to protect yourself, most times that's what it is. And if you can realize that, hey, I've got the opportunity now to figure this out, you can change that belief. You can change that emotional state. You can create what you want. I have little hacks to program my subconscious. And, on my phone, I don't have pictures of my kids. I have pictures of what I want to create in my life. Every time I pick up my phone, my subconscious is like, oh, that's my rally. I had a G-Wagon on here and I had the words, I'm a millionaire. It's just like before I got my G-Wagon. But for a year and a half, I had that on there. And all the things that were on there came to reality because my subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between truth and fiction, right? It's only what I tell it and what I believe. So most people believe a lot of bullshit and garbage because that's what they're doing, because that's what they've been told, and that's what their subconscious is doing. And I know that sounds harsh to say that, but 99% of most of your beliefs that aren't serving you are not real. They're just believing them because you believe them. And your emotions are backing it, and that's why it's there. There's nothing that you can't have. Like, you get to create whatever you want. If you want to create this life and this reality of whatever it is, it's possible for you. But for many people, they're going to let all of that underlying subconscious programming control their lives. That's where I'm like, you're not really in your power. And when I see women who don't even realize that they are playing the victim, I mean, like, that is the most powerless place you can be because you yourself don't even know that you're there and you're not willing to see it. And so I could, on the top of my head, I can think of like 5 clients who would have had 100 times more success than they had massive success, but 100 times more success if they were willing to just stop, regulate their nervous system, and be available for what was available, what was right there for them to see, to unlock that next level self. But let me tell you, not everybody's ready for it. People say they are. But imagine that you shift and let go of thinking something or feeling something that's keeping you in a false sense of safety, and then you change it, and then you go out into the wild or the unknown. Your nervous system might go, oh, hey, wait, what's going on here, right? I don't know how this is going to work out. I like it when I know that it's going to be doomsday or that it's not going to work. When people say, well, it's not going to work, don't go for it. How many people will quit before they even try because they let that voice that's in their subconscious trying to protect them, hold them back from the success that they could be having? One of my mentors, asked me not too long ago, what if you had to go into the unknown? What if the unknown is there? What are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to welcome it with open arms. I love the unknown. That means it's something I don't know yet. I love the unknown because I've learned to really connect to the unknown because I already know what's going on right now. I know how this story plays out. Show me something I don't know. Let me go there. I want to bring that into my life. Daily practices, journaling is the number one. If you have not taken my journaling program, Journal Yourself Rich, my journaling program will show you how I actually did a lot of subconscious programming for myself. That's a good place to start. Accessing the quantum through emotional self-mastery. Every single person should Everybody should take that program. Every single person. We've had therapists go through that program and be like, wow, we didn't even know this. We needed this work too. People who have their PhDs, like doctors, people who teach or psychiatrists, they went through that program. They're like, this is amazing. If you're ready to take the next leap and you want to start being able to shift and change where you are, go and come join us in our Millionaire Club. That's a place where you want to expand your wealth consciousness, work on regulating your nervous system and rewiring your thoughts and literally programming your subconscious to believe what you needed to believe. That is a place where you're going to start hitting your highest cash bonds, right? If you want also business help, come join us in our Wealthy CEO. You're going to, get all these, all the other things you're going to get in there, but you're also going to get how you can apply that to your business. And because, I see so many women who don't realize, I'm going to give you an example. A lot of women have a hard time receiving support, the women who are in their dominant masculine, that protective energy. And they're in that masculine state. They don't trust their intuition a lot. They're constantly second guessing themselves in a lot of ways, not every time, but a lot. And because they're intuitive, but they don't listen to it. They have a hard time receiving support because they want to micromanage and do everything themselves. They want everybody to do what they say because they need the whole environment to be controlled so that their nervous system feels safe. Now, when a woman is in that state, she has a hard time receiving support. So her team, she doesn't have a good team. She wants to do everything herself. She's like, I'm going to control everything. It's easier for me to do it than hire somebody. And what that does is like, here's where a core wound comes up. People leave me. If you have an abandonment wound, you probably have a really hard time having a support team and loyalty and trusting people, because those are all the feminine energy. And that stuff is all cut off because you're too busy protecting yourself in that masculine to feel safe. And then that's where most of, your energy is going, and not into the free flowing, into the excitement, into the trusting, into the knowing, into the allowing. That the receivership is where that money comes in faster than you could think. That's where the quantum money comes in, the quantum leaping. I can't explain where all these clients are coming in. I can't explain how my money's going up. Where is this money coming from? This is like where you have leaps in your income in your life. If people want to do and grind all day long and hustle to make that cash, great. But let me tell you, there's going to be leaks coming up. There's going to be expenses. There's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be unforeseen things happening that are going to affect you. And you're going to be like, what the heck? What am I doing wrong here? Right? So, partners are going to turn on you. You're going to have people stealing from you. You're going to have all these things because the money can't stay, because because your dominant state is to be in survival. So the money coming in, you can't trust it's going to stay. It's going to go out. So you're going to create that with subconscious mind. Anyway, I'm a master at this, and I am so excited that I don't know, the forces that be have chosen me to bring this information to the world because it has changed my life. I was a single mom. I left my marriage. 2013, I got separated. 15, I got divorced. And I had no safety net. I didn't know how I was going to do it. If I'd stayed married, he was working. He had a great job. He had a great business. He's making millions now. I'm assuming he is. He's doing really well. And I could have stayed. But I chose myself, and I chose a riskier place to go, and I had no idea how it was going to work out. And there was moments where I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this house. I'm going to have to sleep in my car and go shower at the gym. And honestly, I didn't know how I was going to make it. But my only choice was that I had to be all in and it was going to work. So I did whatever it took. And if that meant changing my identity, healing myself, reprogramming my mind, tapping into my subconscious, reading all the books, getting myself, hiring the mentors, healers, you name it, to get here, I did it. And I've spent close to $1 million on all of those things. And everybody gets the benefit of that when they come join my programs. But listen, I will not allow myself to live a life below the belt and below the bar and on average, subpar, when I know that other women out there are doing it. Because if she can, I can. There was no way I was going to limit myself and I be the reason why that wasn't happening, because I'm smart and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I've given my kids and myself a life that so many would just dream of. I did. I was a dreamer of it. I was visionary. I was visioning it. Wrote it in my journal every single day. I was going to fly first class to Europe with my children. We were going to go to Italy. We're going to go to Paris. We're going to go all these places, and we're going to live a 5-star life. And we're doing it now. We're living this reality. It is here right now. but it didn't come because I just journaled every day and snapped my fingers. I meditated for an hour every day for 8 years so that I could get the knowings coming to me. I refused to be the reason why. I didn't want my past and the things that happened to me, that victimness, be the reason why I wasn't going to have the things that I wanted in my life and for my children too. And part of me, felt like a little guilt leaving that marriage because they didn't have an active father in the house all the time. And I wanted to make sure I gave my kids everything, and being a solo mom and doing it all. Any of you who are, it is a lot. And then also to completely revamp and change your entire life and live from here. It is the greatest blessing. If I die tomorrow, this is the best thing ever. I never want to leave a stone unturned or a dream unmet because I couldn't come there and believe in myself and do it. And I live in such abundance that I want every single woman that comes into my space to know that I've got her and that she can have this too. And I'm an overgiver in the sense that I have, I'll give to everybody. Like, this is why my podcast, I mean, this could be a training what I just did in this one podcast episode. I live in abundance because I want everybody to win. I want them all to win. Enough abundance for all of us to win. There's all of us can have this. I want every woman to have millions of dollars and become millionaires and multimillionaires, live a lavish life, do whatever she wants, have the experiences and the things. It's not it's the above, it's all of it. Because you can. And if I can help along that way, I will. And I'm free with my knowledge. Now, application, accountability, and me mentoring you got to pay for those programs because I value it, and as I should, because I have put the effort in doing the work, and it's not that easy sometimes. Like, I can't believe I'm here, but I am. My kids are going off to school. They're going off to college. They're 18 and 19. And my one of my senior like woman that I hire that I've been working with for years, she said, you're an open nester, Shamina, not an empty nester. That means there's so many amazing opportunities coming for you. And I love that reframe. And now it's mom's turn because I did my job. I got them here. I mean, I always take care of my kids, but now they're off into the world to do their thing. And now it's my turn. And for 13 years, I've devoted myself to my children and myself. Had I not poured into me, I could not pour into them and be the mother that I am today, the leader that I am today, or create what I have in my life and mentor thousands of women. And it's been life changing. Listen, don't let your subconscious mind hold you back from all the things that you want. You can change it. Start with your emotions, start with rewiring your thoughts. Go out there, dream big, and have what you want because it's there for you, okay? All right, stay tuned for another episode and hope to see you in Chicago. You should see what we're going to be doing. You want to quantum leap fast? Get your butt in that room. All right, see you on the next episode. Bye for now.